Now that Sony and Microsoft have let us in on their plans for their upcoming consoles, it's time to consider how the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One stack up against each other. Their specs look similar on paper, but it's how they'll handle software and services that will set the two consoles apart. The good news for developers is the shift to a more PC-like architecture for both consoles, epitomized by the inclusion of x86 processors. Given that most developers create their games on PCs, the similar processing architecture should allow them to jump right into development without the burden of deciphering the capabilities of proprietary hardware, or worrying about cross-compatibility, both common struggles experienced by developers during the last console generation. Both manufacturers have stated that their respective consoles will feature an 8-core processor, and it appears that these will be combined with the graphics processor on a single chip known as an APU. Without specific numbers, it's hard to judge which system is capable of producing technically better graphics. But Microsoft has an edge thanks to DirectX, the software library found in past Xbox consoles, and most notably, the Windows operating system. The PlayStation 4 hardware will utilize OpenGL and likely support the continuation of Sony's PlayStation graphics library. One isn't necessarily better than the other, but PC developers could find it easier to port games to the Xbox One versus the PlayStation 4. Each console is also slated to ship with 8GB of RAM, to be shared between the CPU and GPU, a huge uptick compared to the last generation. Sony will include GDDR5 RAM, optimized for handling large chunks of data. Microsoft will instead incorporate DDR3, which is relatively better at handling smaller bursts of information. Though RAM is important for high-res game assets, it's critical for running and maintaining background services and applications. Perhaps one of the biggest announcements detailed during Sony's PlayStation 4 presentation was the ability to share gameplay, a feature Microsoft was quick to match during the Xbox One announcement. Both consoles will automatically record footage, but the PlayStation 4 will allow you to stream live video through Ustream, a feature currently absent from Microsoft's launch plans. Both camps have mentioned built-in video editing tools, but the capabilities of either have yet to be explained in detail. For the Xbox One, which supports digital cable and a slew of related features, the ability to switch between apps quickly and easily was a cornerstone of their presentation.
Xbox Game.
Microsoft proudly displayed the system-wide integration of the now required Kinect, boasting its improved voice recognition and motion tracking capabilities by dynamically switching between gameplay, live TV, and Internet Explorer during its presentation. Sony had its own camera sensor on display during its February announcement, the PlayStation 4 Eye. But there are a few details about how voice recognition and motion tracking will be integrated into the PS4 operating system. When you aren't shouting at your TV, you're going to need a controller, and both systems are receiving upgraded variations on past designs. For the PlayStation 4 controller, Sony integrated PlayStation Move support and a touch-sensitive pad located in the middle of the controller. For its controller redesign, Microsoft has introduced an integrated battery, triggers with dynamic feedback, and a new cross-style D-pad. Gone are the start and back buttons, which have been replaced with buttons that appear to have ties to context menus and task switching. There's a lot left to discover about both the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, but today, it seems that the consoles will be defined not by graphical performance, but by the integration of social services and extended functionality. Expect to learn more about each console during E3, where GameSpot will provide up-to-the-minute coverage of the latest announcements from Sony and Microsoft, as well as deeper looks into the games that will eventually land on their next-gen consoles.